Before the pod, everybody has been saying, yo, you need to learn about this Ruby Franke story. What is it?
Ruby Franke.
Is it one person?
Yeah. Well, technically, it's many people.
Yeah.
Okay, just break the whole thing down. I have no clue what this is.
All right, so this girl, Ruby Franke, right? 2015, she starts posting a family vlog called 8 Passengers on YouTube. It goes dumb viral. She gets millions of followers. She's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month doing a family vlog. Yeah, she's Mormon, lives out in Utah.
So like Passengers is like Passengers of God.
Ah.
Yeah.
6 kids, husband, wife. And she's just filming the daily life of like the kids.
Yeah.
And from when the kids are young. Like one of the kids isn't even born yet. Like all the kids are like 10-ish, 12-ish. And then slowly the content gets bigger and bigger, but also like a little bit more aggressive. And she has this like very...
what do you mean by aggressive?
Like she's like putting like the kids like, oh, my daughter's first period. Or like, oh, my son's using deodorant. Or like he's going through puberty. Like putting out stuff that's very private. And one of the girls
is saying... You're really getting in there, my boy.
I got a lot of lip.
Yo, don't do that. Don't do that.
I got a lot of lip. You wouldn't know nothing about that. It should be hanging on your teeth. I got a lot of lip. I got a lot of mouth.
You look like a fiend, dog. You look like a straight...
I think put his nose. I think you want to round.
You got to get it up there to the gum. I don't want to waste nothing on the teeth, man. I want it going right to the gum so it goes right to the source. Can we talk about Ruby Franke and this murderous bitch? She killed the kids? Is that what happened?
Didn't murder.
No, she ain't murdered nobody.
So what's the... All
right.
Go.
The girl was saying early on, like one of the kids I think was saying like, it felt like our whole childhood revolved around her wanting to film us. And like, that was what life was. Like her being like, we need to film this thing. We didn't have like our own life. It's just her thing.
That's
but then it continues to devolve.
She puts one of the kids, she's like, hey, you don't have a bedroom anymore. You have to sleep on a beanbag chair. Like one of the kids is like acting out. He's not being obedient. And like obedience is like the most righteous virtue within the family. If you're not obedient, you're being of the devil. And so she eventually links up with this therapist that starts working with the family to get the family to be more obedient.
You heard that, right? She took the kid's bedroom away, the bed away. He had to sleep on a beanbag for months. Like...
So white people.
We've all seen.
Oh my god! A beanbag?
We've all seen what kind of father he is. I know. And for him to act like he would ever be like okay with anything remotely approaching this is so funny.
My daughter would never just disrespect me.
Wouldn't have a demon in her.
Are you kidding me? Would never be a situation like that. Clearly.
Okay.
And then it
sleep on a
escalates.
beanbag. I mean, if I just sleep on like a hard wooden floor, sure, but a beanbag is pretty sick.
It's kind of sick. It's kind of chill.
Yeah.
Beanbags are cool.
That is better.
How old is the kid?
Like probably 15, 16.
I thought it was like a 4-year-old or something like that.
Like 15, 16.
It's like a teen.
That's the kid?
Yeah,
it's a few years
he's a
later,
stud.
but
He's a stud, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, she gets this therapist involved, and the therapist is like, I'm kind of a man hater. She's like, men are the problem. She gets her husband into the
Also,
therapy
not
group.
like a real PhD. Like, what are they? Licensed clinical worker or whatever the fuck nonsense.
Yeah.
It becomes basically a cult. Where like now she brings this girl Ruby Franke into like her group and now is like her co-host on a bunch of the content, and then she stops doing YouTube content and just like isolates the family, isolates the parents away, or like, isolates the dad, so the dad gets kicked out of the house, and her starts hooking up with the therapist in their own house.
Who?
Ruby Franke starts.
The therapist basically does a great
I
job.
think that was strongly alluded. They don't know
Is
for
the
sure.
therapist a male or female?
Female.
She's a woman, man-hating, and then...
These Mormons are so easy to gay up. Do you guys remember that horrendous documentary where the guy fucked the whole family?
It's just a hand job or something? It's just... Oh, it's kid stuff. It's just kid stuff about a hand job to another dude.
Remember the guy who was disgusting, but he had sex with the dad, the mom, and the daughter. Remember? It was like horrendous. Like if the daughter wasn't involved, it'd be hilarious. But he did do it to the daughter as well. But there's something about... Yeah, it's not just Mormons, I want to say. I think they're the most extreme example of Americans. But I think Americans, since we grow up believing that we can achieve anything, we are probably the most gullible culture. And I think this is why that we accept conspiracies so willingly. Like there's another part where like the government has obviously lied and these institutions take advantage of us. Absolutely, of course. But because we grow up and every single one of us is like, I'm going to be a millionaire when I grow up. Of course I am. I'm going to be the most famous person. I'm going to be the most successful. There's no version of us that is like, I can't go past my class. I can't achieve these things. We believe we can do anything. So you could turn them into lesbians, right? Like you could flip them. It's really interesting.
But theirs is like
we're
religious.
the cults. There's cults don't exist outside of America, right?
Nah,
Where are there cults that are this popular?
Jim Jones was probably not in America, right? He was in South America.
But he started in America.
No, I started. Motherfucker got a crack in here, bro. This is where you make your bones.
Are gypsies considered a cult?
No.
No, but like
fire.
Japan had a famous one. They did the sarin gas attacks in the subway.
They had one cult. What I'm saying is we got a million. We have so many different cults. We don't know which one drank the Kool-Aid and they all died. Like there's like hundreds
The
of
most
them.
poppin' cults have religiosity tied in. That's why like the Caribbean, I think they could be, they're slightly more believable on like spiritual shit. Like if you were to tell a Jamaican, be like, yo, I saw this guy was talking to me, he flew. Like I think it'd be a little easier to get a Jamaican guy to be like, wait, for real?
Every American would believe you in a heartbeat. Have you seen the way that Americans react to like mentalists?
Yeah.
Do you know, like when they go, and what you're thinking of is Deborah, and they're like, Deborah. Like if you do that in France, like, oh yes, you get some Deborah. Okay, this is very nice. Like there's no reactivity in Europe to that kind of shit. They're like, oh, magic. Okay, very nice, a good trick.
I think it's God. I think if you grew up with like a religious underpinning, that's why I believe in demons, even though I don't.
Yes, you do. Yes, you really do.
We believe in everything. I think God maybe is part of it, but I also think there's something like culturally, pushing this belief in the impossible, where I think there's like a restrictive belief in other. Like in Scotland, they're not believing in this shit. Like where my mom grew up, it was like, hey, this is where you are. You're going to stay right here, and that is it, and you better accept it and love it, right? This is like this kind of British class system that everybody lives in, and you can go within this range, but if you go out, if you're really putting in effort, you're a real keener.
Are they super religious in Scotland?
They're like tribally.
Yeah, I think in general, some people will take some specific random part of the Bible that's crazy, and then there's demons probably talked about in the Bible, and then that just becomes all of what it's about.
Yeah.
So this one was literally, Jody, the therapist, was like, I'm possessed by a demon. That's why I need to move into your guys' house with all your kids.
Yeah, her house was possessed.
So she moves in with the family of 8 people and is having exorcisms on camera. They're like filming it. The girl's like,
Oh, shit.
get out of her. Like doing an exorcism.
They kick the daughter out of her room, so then she gets a room in the house. So she slowly like works her way into like a pretty good system. And every time that like she wouldn't get what she wants or like it wasn't happening fast enough, she'd be more possessed.
Yeah.
And then she gets up to the top bedroom, and then she's having these demon problems overnight. So the wife would leave the husband in their bed. Mind you, the husband went through hell in this experience. He first got on steroids. He didn't get juice, but he got incredibly fit because the wife, the original Ruby Franke, was like, you're the man of the house. You need to like
be Diesel.
I want to keep listening to this.
I watched the Hulu doc. I didn't see any of that.
Hold on.
part.
Could this happen in Italy? No way. And they are Catholic. Like what I'm saying is, could this happen in France? No way. It's not happening in Greece. It's not happening anywhere else. We have
But
to.
the first thing you pointed out was Mormons.
Oh, yeah.
And there was the other one too. And this.
But I think that Mormons are the most extreme version of Americans, right? It's like to believe their thing. Like, have you looked into their belief system? No knock on the Mormons, but it's some wild shit. Like the Native Americans made it over to Jerusalem, then pulled back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus came to America. Fire.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think there
Smith
is
and
something
Rita.
in our DNA. Maybe it is like, maybe that we are these like risk takers from the rest of the world, right? We leave the rest of the world, leave our families because we really truly believe that we can do anything in America.
Yeah.
So that type of belief system, which is amazing, it's what America thrives off of, also lends us to believe anything could be possible. And that's why you see these cults sprout up. And I think religiosity helps.
I think we're splitting hairs. I agree. There's I think we're just disagreeing on the percentage.
Yeah.
That's it. I agree with you. That is part of it.
I wonder if cryptos is popular in Europe. Like, I bet you it's not. I bet you they're like, it's just letters. There's no way you could possibly make. And every American's like, this is the new fucking me. I'm like, I watched one documentary on the Fed and I'm like, these motherfuckers. It takes one video to flip the entire country.
Yeah.
How the fuck do they give us all this information? Like, do you know what I mean? This is insanity. Yeah. We're vulnerable.
Yeah. I feel like where life is pretty good, I feel like you're not going to get into it as much. Like remember when we were at the pool in Arizona, we met those British people, they're like crypto millionaires. And like their teeth were rotted out and they're all in blow.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, crypto, it's a new thing, bro. If you guys go and get on it. And I was just like, oh, this is the end. This is like, we're looking at the end right in the face. Just like these fat British people like, yes, we're putting all the money in crypto. They're probably billionaires at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably made a lot of money.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway,
Yeah, keep going this. So husband gets on steroids. He gets fit.
The husband just got really screwed in the whole process.
He's also kind of like a dumb seeming guy, easily manipulated. He's so in love with his wife. He's like so cucked out. He just goes along with everything she wants.
And then what the therapist does is genius. She has a men's group. This woman, Hildebrand, has a men's group that they have to meet on Zoom every week, and then they talk about the shame of like looking at pornography, lust, and not loving and having sex through love but through lust. And she uses the husband as the beacon of hope. She's like, oh yeah, the husband's been doing great. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best. Builds him up into this like godlike character. And then once she gets in the house and she now wants the husband away from the wife, she just every week starts laying into him. For months, she starts going, do you feel bad about your shame? I know you're having lustful thoughts. She starts attacking him, making him an outsider inside of the group that he used to be at the top of. So now he wants her approval so badly. So he'll do anything for this therapist.
Yeah. I think he like watched pornography one time that month, and she's like, that's why there's demons in the house.
And then
come on. I know. This is only in America. Like we need to start like just being honest with ourselves. We can be a little better about the demon stuff. Mark is one of the smartest people we know. He believes in demons.
I know, yeah.
He's also the most religious person I know.
This guy's barely even religious. Talk about the most religious person you know. He doesn't eat sugar.
Come on, bro.
Shit.
Come on, bro.
When was the last time you went?
During Lent, he's repping his stuff.
Bro, I've been going every Sunday in Lent.
In Lent.
Yeah.
So one Sunday.
Yeah, so far.
He
so
went
far.
1 week.
Yeah, I'm on a streak. I'm on a
This
streak.
is the most religious person you know. This guy right here. You know Dove.
Yeah, when was the last time you went to synagogue?
He goes every single morning.
He goes every day.
Every day?
Yeah,
he eats
praying for Gospa.
Damn it.
He does lobster though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean with the diet.
And Chixas.
No, he's off the Chixas.
You're
He's
off the Chixas.
Yeah.
That's great. Congrats.
I love it.
Don't ever say I've never lied for you. Don't ever say I never lied for you, Doug. Okay? But there's something about us, man. We'll believe it. And every single New Yorker thinks the Knicks are going to win the championship every single year.
Because we are.
Every single Dallas Cowboys fan thinks it outside of you. Outside of you. But you understand what I'm saying. We have this, like, there's this beautiful delusion we have. It allows us to create the greatest thing.
I think the delusion in America specifically is imbued with religiosity because of manifest destiny.
Yes.
The whole point of America is like, yo, anything's possible, and you can make all the money you want because God wants you to.
Well, can you explain specifically what manifest destiny is? How that plays a part in?
You can go west as far as you want and colonize and kill all the natives because
that's what God wants.
Because this is what God wants.
Hey, what did JFK say? Was it JFK or was it Roosevelt? Like, God is on our side. Like, we're going to win this war.
Yeah, Roosevelt.
It was Roosevelt,
Yeah,
right?
World War II.
Yeah, it was like, I forget exactly how he said it, but essentially it's like God is on our side. And we're all like, oh, word?
Fire.
All right, let's go. Storm the beach.
Yeah.
And then the first line of Americans just got murdered and they were like, yo, God, you want to pull up? Like, what the fuck? You're a little late here. But
God's
like,
on the third line.
No, yeah.
God will come up with
yeah,
the rear.
That also makes sense with the Mormonism thing. Like they are the manifest destiny religion. They
Yes.
keep going west
American
trying to find-
primeval.
Yeah, they're
You seen
trying
that shit?
And there's some wild boy. Yo, shout out to Mormons. I know it sounds like we're bagging on Mormons. Like incredibly impressive, like what they've created. Like I think this idea of Mormonism is that there's these dopes and they go live in Ethiopia and then they come back here and then they kind of just settle in Salt Lake and nothing really happens. It's like that thing. What is it called? Where they go for 2 years? The mission is like this beautiful.
Yeah, dude.
You basically get your business acumen locked in for 2 straight years, right? You learn sales in the toughest environment possible. You learn another language. You're trying to sell God to people who don't want it.
Dealing with rejection of the most personal thing in your life.
The thing that means the most to you.
Oh, wow.
Getting smacked in the face. And you're put in a lot of them like really tough situations. So they develop that skill to deal with rejection. They develop an amazing skill to sell. And by the end of it, you're not knocking on doors. You're running a team of people that are knocking on doors.
Oh, really?
So they come out of that with this like understanding of how a business should function, learning another language, and knowing how to manage other people in like really desperate situations. So of course they come back here and they thrive and they become like the largest, landowners in America or something like that. Like
They run multinational corporations like
churches large.
and we just call them goofballs because they have some like weird beliefs, but they're on that
both.
action.
They're both.
It's a boot camp.
They are both.
But like, if you look at like Mormon business people, there's so many. Like the Mary Kay girls that do all the makeup, the
they
MLM
Mormon?
makeup. That first girl was Mormon. There's like a whole subgenre of like Mormon mom talk, like where it's just like TikTok influencers that sell clothing and makeup and shit.
Yeah.
All Mormon, all
Love.
know each other. Just like no shame regarding like selling themselves because they're like, yeah, bro, I fucking go around and talk to people about Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually. JetBlue, Black and Decker, SkyWest, Marriott. It's a lot.
I'm raising my kids Mormon. I've always said this.
Son, Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bain Capital, the legend.
And I think, who were we talking to? We were talking to somebody about like how they justify that. Because the idea, I think, with Bain, and I could be messing this up, but you're essentially like taking over businesses that are in distress and then like building them back up. And you got to fire like maybe 10,000 fucking people when you do that. Yeah. And it's just like, how do you deal with that as like a Mormon, as a God-fearing person? Like you could negatively impact 10,000 people's lives. And I think the justification was, yeah, but I'm saving the other 20,000 that work at that company. And what would happen to them if the whole company went out of business? Like, so you can retrofit any justification that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Like they're fucking impressive. But like most Americans, they will believe whatever the fuck sounds most interesting.
Yeah.
I think Mormons are also like the highest tithing group of people. So like a lot of times they can justify business decisions through the fact that the more money they are making,
They give back to the church.
10% always goes to the church pre-tax.
Yeah.
This woman's convinced the whole time while she's doing the YouTube channel. She's like, the reason it's going well is because we're promoting God and LDS to the world. Like that's the reason God is
And
blessing.
she changes the handle from like, what is it, 8 passengers to what? Like,
Moms of Truth.
Moms of Truth, yeah. So this girl is like a part of, now it's them too.
Yeah.
Not even the family, but she's still like, you can describe
She
it.
basically kicks out the oldest son, the oldest daughter. They go to college and they have complete cutoff. They can't talk to the family at all. She says, if you talk to the family, you're going to be bringing more demons into the house. So for the sake of the family, don't talk to us.
The oldest son gets kicked out because he masturbates. You're missing
Also that.
a main detail. The woman, the
How did you find out?
the therapist is living in the house and also is his therapist and is also manipulating the oldest son and being like, tell me what you've done wrong. I know something went wrong. I know you have guilt on your conscience. He's like, all right, I got a hand job. I drank little alcohol and I looked at porn. And then that gets back to the mother. And then the mother goes, oh, the reason this house is cursed, the reason that the woman is still being possessed by the devil is because you're in the house doing sinful things. You have to leave. He leaves at 17. The older daughter's in college. And this is when the father is also being like excommunicated from the family. And the woman is now having these like these demon possessions overnight. And the wife would go to the husband and be like, hey, I need to go upstairs. I think if I stay with her tonight, the demons won't affect her. And this is where the like hookup accusations start to build.
The daughter in the documentary says, I believe they were hooking up, which is kind of far. Like, I mean, it's insane.
What does the therapist look like?
Not cute.
Yeah, tough
Not
look.
cute.
Tough look.
There's like videos of them on a jet ski and they're like so like lesbian cute. They're like holding on to each other and she's like, I'm going to go so fast.
There it
And
is.
she's like, don't throw me off.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. She was sitting front row at the
Maple
Leafs
Leafs
game.
game?
Yeah.
I must have fell asleep for part of this shit because I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
So then basically for 9 months, this woman and the therapist are raising the 4 other kids. The husband's out of the picture. 2 oldest kids are out of the picture. And then she just starts abusing the shit out of the 2 youngest kids. This is where it gets super fucked up. And
Who is abusing them?
the 2 of them together.
The 2 moms.
Jesus
The husband's kicked out of the house. He has no idea what's going on, but he's so brainwashed and was so pussy whipped over this girl that like on these calls, he just assumes he's the problem and everything's going to get better. No check-in with his kids. I think his oldest daughter tried to text him. Hey, Dad, just want to let you know I love you, thinking of you. He hearts it, and then 1 minute later unhearts it because he's so worried about, like crossing his wife, essentially. Even though he's already been kicked out for months, maybe a year. He's like so worried about crossing the mom and losing her. Shit. He said like, I chose her over my kids every single time.
So moves the 2 youngest kids away from their childhood home into the therapist's house, which is like on a compound far out in Utah.
It's a mansion in like the desert. Like there's no one around for an acre, 2 acres, 3 acres.
And like the house is like retrofit. It's got like bunkers underneath. It's got like a safe with like a panic room. It's got like food prepped for months.
How does she have money?
From doing this cult, basically.
Yeah, she basically runs like one of the best therapy situations. And it's, I don't want to say it's like the church isn't helping her, but the church is telling people you can go to her.
It was like Hustlers University for soccer moms.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. And so the kids end up getting abused. Like they have to like go stand in the sun. They have to jump on a trampoline for like 12 hours a day. They force them to like run in like 110-degree weather. And then at one point they're just like bound with like ropes in the basement, just like tied up. And the mom documents everything in these journals. Everything, word for word.
And the vlogs start getting darker. Like if your kid is, it is principle over everything. If your kid has to die for the principles to work, then that's what it is. It doesn't matter. The punishment needs to be more severe.
Killer.
Yeah.
So the way they found out is that the kid, one of the boy that's tied up, escapes from the house. The therapist leaves the door open. He escapes from the house, runs across the street, like all the way down the driveway, like to the nearest neighbor, knocks on the door, and then the neighbor shows
Kid's
up.
about to walk away because the neighbor's an old person. It takes him a while to get to the door. Kid just kind of, you see it on the ring cam. He starts walking away. He's like almost at the street. And then luckily the neighbor opens the door and the kid is like, hey, can you do me 2 favors? And the neighbor's like, kind of like, what? What are they? And then he's like, can you, actually, I just need one. Can you call the cops? I'm worried about my sister and me or something like that.
The video's on a ring cam too.
Yeah.
Like the kid walks up on a ring cam.
It's kind of heartbreaking, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like, I cried watching
the dad, like this is an old man. He's like, why don't you have a seat here? Then I guess his wife brings out like a banana and some water. The dad calling the cops is looking at the kid. He's like bound at the ankles, duct tape on his ankles, all bloody, emaciated, like super skinny. And then he starts crying. This old guy just looking at this kid. He's like, what's happening to these kids is awful. And then apparently he has a sister in the house too. So then
SWAT comes in, raids the whole house, rescues the sister.
And this
Finds the
bitch,
sister,
the
like-
therapist, when she answers the door, she goes, I'm on the phone with my lawyer. Like already she knows.
She knows.
So I would say this mom is probably schizophrenic. Like the way she talks about demons and she says, I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah.
These are things I have very like basic understanding of schizophrenia. That's like, these are things that a schizophrenic person might think. That like there's demons in the house and I'm on a mission from God, blah, blah, blah. This therapist is a dirty, dirty bitch. And the dad is a cuck for just letting this all happen. To me. Like, that's my takeaway.
So then basically go to court. They both plead guilty to 6 counts of like child abuse. And they both get like 30, 40 years in prison.
Oh, dude, the daughter was in, when they found the daughter, she was like upstairs in a room, like her hand like this, you know what I mean? Like her knees tucked against her chest.
In like a closet, in the back of the closet.
And the cop is trying to talk to her. She won't speak. Like, it's so sad. So he's just like calling for whatever backup or like welfare or whatever, with CDC or whatever the fuck. Oh, and people had been in Utah, her neighbors, it's Utah, they're probably all friendly with each other. They were all concerned and they had called for welfare checks. Multiple neighbors and the oldest daughter called for a welfare check. I want a welfare check for my brothers and sisters. I don't think they're okay. And then the cops weren't allowed to get a search warrant because the judge said, one of the neighbors was asked, have you seen evidence of physical abuse? And because the neighbor said no, the cop was like, you can't give him a search warrant. So this goes on for 10 months. So if that kid doesn't escape and they die, frankly, it's also on the judge for never once being like, yo, you're allowed to go do a welfare check. And to be honest, we have a neighbor who says some crazy shit to their kid. Like, you're a fucking psychopath, like nasty shit to their kid. You're fucking insane. What are you doing? Like, we're hearing things horrendous. We called Child Protective Services, CPS or whatever. And then they were like, if you don't have evidence that the kids are being physically abused, there's nothing we can do. I'm sorry.
So verbal abuse doesn't...
It doesn't count. And she was like, the same thing they said to her. The lady on the phone was like, I'm with you. And the shit this mom says, I was going to go over and knock on the door and be like, what the fuck is going on? And my wife is like, you cannot call let's call CPS. Let's do this the right way, but you cannot go over there. And I was like, I'm going to go check in on the kid and be like, yo, are you okay? I hear what she's saying to you. And she's like, dog, this woman is clearly crazy. Yeah. You have somewhat of a public profile. You don't know what she could say about you. Trying to groom this kid or whatever. So it's like, you call CPS, you try to do the right thing. Nobody shows up. Nobody talks to her. Still hears shit. It's like crazy. And we live in like a nice building.
So what happens to that kid?
I don't know. I see him. I try to just be like, hey, what's up, man? Everything okay? He is withdrawn. Head is always down. And it's just like, yeah, your mom is saying horrendous shit to you.
Yeah, it sucks because I think if you call like CPS and you like lie, you can get charged with like fraud and like actually it's a crime if you do some shit like that. It's almost like swatting.
Right, that makes sense.
But I mean, if you hear somebody that's
you say
verbally
what you heard?
abusing
Yeah.
their child, you should
but
be able
they can't
to...
do anything about that. But imagine if he calls and be like, oh, I seen her hit the child and he lied about that shit, then it's like he can get in trouble.
I mean, you could say you heard it, what sounded like it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just the shit. I can't even think of it because it's all right on the spot and it's whatever. But like the shit she says is just like, we hear it from our room and in like apartment nearby. And we're like down the hall, people have been like talking to us like, what the fuck is going on in there?
See, that shit scares the fuck out of me because that kid turns into a school shooter.
Truly.
That's the one too. It's like
Head down all the time. Withdrawn.
How old?
15.
Oh, you could talk to a 15-year-old.
nah. I ain't talking to nobody's kid.
Really?
I ain't talking.
He had a rule, all right? He had a strict rule.
What's his
When
rule?
you're in college, you can't talk to...
They were good guys.
Oh, that's funny.
I also think, though, there's a conversation about all of these mommy vloggers. Like, My wife sees a couple of them. Some of them will just have their kids like in the background of a video as a part of like, hey, here's a day in my life. My kid went to whatever. Some of them will make their kids the center of the video, and there's an Indian girl who does it.
Right.
And like, she has just a daughter who's to me just an adorable girl, but she wears glasses, and I know how this fucking internet thing works. I know we all know how the comment section works. My wife was watching it, and I was getting like fucking furious before Jocelyn got on TikTok, and she was like, "Why are you so angry?" And I was like, "Dog, this girl is going to start seeing negative comments. She's a fucking baby. This is going to fuck her up mentally. She has no consent in this. Why are you putting her on fucking video? Do you care about your kids at all, or are you just so fucking talentless that you'll do whatever it takes to get a few views?" I was like livid about
The
it.
Ruby thing is crazy because she's forcing the kids to do stuff. She's like, "Hey, act sad. Hey, be sad in this one." And the kid's like, "Mom, I don't really want to do this."
Yeah, I think larger conversation, all them fucking parent vloggers, if your kid is a center of a video, your account should be banned.
Well, did you see what happened in
Dead ass.
California?
Also, it's child labor.
Well,
Yeah.
California's legislated against this. California right now just started a law where if your child is 60% of your content, you have to put away a certain amount of money for them, 30% of their income.
I like that.
And there's a bunch of people who are leaving California being like, guys, we just don't like the lifestyle here. Like, we're going to Tennessee. We're going to Texas. We had mold in the house or whatever these like sort of excuses are. Quote,
But it's
unquote.
just so that they can enslave their
we gotta
children
call out
and
these
make
people.
content.
I don't know the full details.
Dog,
of it.
that shit is so gross to me.
Like this lady, she was giving them just like $10 to be in a
Oh
video.
yeah. She was like, "If you help with the video, you get $10."
And she's coming home with fucking 100,000.
She also left. She saved all the raws. So there's all these offcuts of her being like, do it different. And then it being like, she saved all the raws. So there's all this evidence against her.
You know what's funny about this is that there's a lot of people that like their kids just worked at the bodega or worked at the diner or worked whatever, and that was just part of their chores. That's what it is. And they didn't get their $10. Maybe they might have got a couple bucks, but this is just your contribution to the family. Like this is the family business. Nobody has an issue with it.
No, I can, but here's the difference. Internet comments are the difference. You go to school, nobody's gonna be like, hey, look what people are saying about you working at the bodega.
Yeah.
This, if you, or just some kid could go comment on the parents' page and it's like, well, whatever.
I will say this though, like all the mommy bloggers, like keep that shit up though, because they put out some good information, like learning, like if you want to know like how to beat jet lag for your kid, you could just type that shit into
love that.
TikTok. It's incredible.
I love that. You be the center of the video.
No, I think you're
That's the
making
difference.
you're defining it right. Like
that is a talent. What you're describing.
Yeah.
Putting my kid in a video and talking about how cute they are, that's the kid. That's no different than like
Right.
these stage moms that we hate or the kids that force their kids to be actors.
Yeah.
You're the exact same person, but now you're also the director, the executive producer. You're just taking all the money. And the next person won't be as insane as Ruby Franke. She'll be smart enough to delete the raws, et cetera, et cetera.
I think slicing it and that when you're making your kid act for the content, and especially like emotionally manipulating them and abusing them like this, that's fine. But no, I mean that's not fine. Sorry, that's horrible, and they should all go to jail.
That's illegal. Yeah,
that's illegal. They should go to jail. But I see a lot of these like mommy bloggers. They put out amazing stuff. It's like, hey, my kid was doing this, and it actually this piece of this bottle can pop off, and she almost choked. Like, don't use this bottle. And then you go, oh my god, thank you so much for sharing that information. I'm just saying, like as a parent, there's
some
like,
of those are fire.
There's like so much useful information that a lot of parents they're saying like which food has you allergic reactions, but it's not on the ingredient list.
Yeah, there's like soy secretly and some shit.
Yeah, I love the fact that information is decentralized, especially with parenting, just as a parent, because I get so much of it. But I agree with you. There's a different version of it where you're like abusing the kid for content. But the one, like you said, like where parents are at the forefront, it's super helpful as a parent. Before we just had to like go off a few parenting books and you hope those were good. I'd rather go off of like millions of people on the internet saying like what was useful for their kids without exploiting the kid. And I think a lot of them are good at some even like blur their kids' faces out in them. And they'll be like, hey, this tool for sleeping on a plane was really helpful. We inflated this thing.
1000%.
So I don't want to criticize those people because that shit is.
that's fair.
Her teenage daughter, and I guess now she's a teenager, getting her eyebrows threaded, and like, I didn't watch the video, but I know Indian girls. I know what the eyebrows look like. I know you're inviting some comments. You know what I mean? Like, let's have some fucking sense.
You're trying to protect the kids from that online criticism, which is very different when their parents, they're just like offering information and advice.
Yeah, one's
to the
entertainment,
world.
one's information.
Yeah, education rather. Yeah.
But like that shit is fire. Like how to play with your baby.
dude, there's all these amazing videos from like doctors. They're not pediatricians, but they're like they have maybe like a PhD in child psychology or something like that. Like how to teach your kid how to sound out letters, or how to teach your kid how to like say words before they can even really speak. Yeah, and I learned all this stuff from them. Like this is amazing.
I remember the first time a girl left me alone with the baby. She's like, "All right, I'll be gone for like an hour and a half. I'll be right back." And I was like, "What do I do?" She's like, "Oh, I just play with him." I was like, "What?" Read him, but like I was like, do I just like read them? Like I didn't know what to do.
What girl left you alone with a baby?
Sister? My wife.
Oh, okay.
You said a girl.
Yeah, you said a girl. That was a little weird.
She was like, yeah, just play with the baby. I was like, I don't know how to. So I like looked at the video. And I was like, oh no, like put some water in a pan, let him splash in it.
Yeah,
shit like that. I was like, oh, that's smart.
That's great. That's informational, like you said. And even if it's entertainment, that is. Even if it was you getting on camera and complaining about your kids, but your kids aren't in the videos, they're blurred out. Yeah. I'm not even saying it's a shot at him. That's what Louis C.K. did. Yeah. It was, but you don't know who the kids are. He protects their identity. That's great. That's entertaining.
Yeah. But I think that's a good slice.
Yeah, but what gets the views? And they knew that the son and the oldest daughter got the views whenever they would be on the.
That's some horse shit, dog.
That was crazy.
That's some horse shit.
Yeah.
You exploiting children for views is some horse shit.
I know.
Yeah,
this bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
Give me something fun right now. This is too dark. I need something fun and I need something light.